Hello and welcome to a new episode of Everstate's Go to Masters Season 3. We converse with RevOps and GTM leaders from some of the most successful companies today and learn from their unique stories. Joining us today is Colin Towner, VP Global Commercial Operations at Shockwave Medical. Thank you for being here today, Colin. Could you please share a little bit about yourself to our listeners?
Certainly, more than happy to. As you noted, I'm currently the Vice President of Global Commercial Operations at Shockwave Medical. That involves your traditional sales ops functions, comp quota, those sorts of analytics, customer service, field inventory, contracting and pricing, and an advanced analytics group within my team to support the broader commercial organization. Previous to that, I've been at 8 different medical device companies, ranging from everything from vascular space, which is where I am today, to orthopedics, gastrointestinal diseases, and urology. So I have a bit of a broad background in the medical device space.
That's interesting. You've had a very diverse background across cost, revenue, commercial operations. So, what was the turning point that drew you into sales and revenue operations, Colin?
I- Yeah, you're correct. I've been, both in the supply chain side and on the commercial side of the house. What I really enjoy in working in commercial operations, slash sales operations, some people call it, or revenue ops, is the interaction with the salespeople. They're always a interesting group. Usually a lot of big personalities in that, and you're out in front helping in some ways get product to customers. And in the medical device space, that's one of the reasons a lot of people are here, and one of the reasons I'm here is that in some way I like to think that I'm, through my contributions to whatever company I'm with, that I'm helping get therapy to patients who really need it and helping them get better.
With medical fields, especially, what has kept you excited about this field for over 20 years now?
But just the dynamic nature of it, the innovations within it. I started out in the day when the first drug-eluting stents were out. And so in cardiology, that was a huge event when the first drug-eluting stents came out. Went into the peripheral space where technology was moving very rapidly there, and we were doing things. It was the early days of atherectomy and its competitors and some of those drug-eluting pieces going into that. Went it up over into another pace in GI, and again, innovation there was tremendous, and some of the diagnostics and treatments that people were providing, some of the first treatments there that were proven to reduce and eliminate cancer risk within the GI space were available at that point, and I was part of those companies as well. Getting into urology and that sort of space and orthopedics, again, tremendous innovations. Orthopedics, is very concrete about what you're doing to help people, repairing broken bones or stitching wounds and those sorts of things. And then here at Shockwave, intravascular lithotripsy, the invention of that, and the bringing of that to market, and then being part of the growth of that and defining a new space within this industry has been amazing. So I've been fortunate to be at several companies who've been at the edge of innovation, and helping bring those products to patients is just very satisfying.
Indeed, yeah. And coming back to the reward space, you mentioned that your team has built a very strong revenue forecasting model with data scientists that actually get the accurate numbers quite early. So, what does your forecasting process looks like, and how do you strike the balance between high level accuracy and also the need for detailed forecast?
That's that's where tools have also evolved rapidly over time. Back in the days when I first was doing forecasts 20 years ago, we were relying on the traditional tools often used in supply chain, a variety of simple statistical models, box winters, linear regression, exponential smoothing, those sorts of things. And they worked well if you knew a lot about what was happening and you had a fairly predictable revenue. But it was hard when you were in a new space or introducing new products. The advent of these more advanced tools here, machine learning tools, which is one of the pieces we build in these models, the ability to handle more factors, more complications in your model in a coherent way and be able to understand what those variations cause has been an amazing benefit to our forecasting processes. So we start like most people do. When we look at a year, there's a financial number that's out there that's set by the company. We have some input into helping set that going forward, but there's always objectives and concerns from that side. We then look at how we've done over time. One of the biggest predictors is how it's gone in the past, and so those are always things that people use for historic modeling. But then it's adding in that piece, and what you can do with machine learning rapidly and efficiently is run a whole different bunch of scenarios with different inputs and different factors, and start to center around a number that that makes sense. And you can add in for things like new product launches or retirements or other changes that are coming in your model a lot easier than you can with some of the more traditional methods.
Sense, yeah.
And that
You what?
I think the other piece, just the other piece, the high level accuracy they need for detail. Obviously, the more aggregate you're forecasting, the easier it is to be accurate. The question is if high level accuracy at what level makes business sense. Obviously, from a greater financial perspective, a lot of places, the CFO and those folks want to know what the total number is going to be. They're not necessarily as concerned about how you got there in pieces, but they want to know that total number is correct. As you continue to break that down into countries or regions or even down to individual territories, it's harder to maintain that level of accuracy. And frankly, the business need at that point is really up to the individual business as to how important that accuracy is. At where I am now, territory level accuracy is important for helping set quotas and make sure that those make sense. But being exactly correct at the territory level uh, is really not something we're terribly concerned about.
And you've also emphasized the importance of keeping compensation plans simple, transparent, and quick to roll out. So, can you share how you actually structure your comp plans, and why simplicity is so critical to driving the right sales behaviors?
Sure, we'll start with the second part of that first. Simplicity is important because reps need to understand how they make money in that comp plan. You're driving an incentive in a comp plan, or as I like to refer to it, incentive plan. You're trying to incent certain behaviors through drivers in that plan. If you keep it simple, then they understand how they make money, how they're successful in that plan, and they tend to act that way. And so simplicity works well for explaining it to them. We have a series of um, web meetings and Teams events with the sales team to make sure they understand their plan each quarter and that we get to the right answers. Keeping it simple makes it easy for them to understand. Keeping it simple also makes it easier for us to calculate. And so when I'm running a set of calculations at the end of the quarter, the end of performance period, year, whatever it happens to be, it's simpler for our team to under execute. And it's simpler when you present a statement to a rep for them to understand, okay, this is how I did, this is what I made, and understand, and that lines up with their expectations. So simplicity wins. The last piece of that is that if you have a sales team of any size, uh, there's a group effect there. And it is amazing the power of that group to communicate together, work together, and figure out if you've tried to put a complicated plan up, where the gaps are and where they can make the most money, which may not be exactly what you want them to do. So it's important to keep it simple that way. We have structured comp plan. Here I am it's a revenue based plan. We have a particular revenue target for each sales territory. It's allocated across the product groups, specifically to however we think that's going to do. And then we have a series of bonus activities that they can engage in to either launch a new product, retire an old product off the market, execute other pieces that are specific to that particular time period's needs. So we do a lot of communication about it. We try to make it simple, and we try to make sure that the results or the progress to date is in front of them every day.
Got it. Got it. And with evolving technology, and there's one topic which we can never skip these days is about AI, and AI is one of the hottest topics in any industry right now. So, from your perspective, what are the most promising applications of AI in revenue operations and sales operations, and how do you separate the hype from the real practical value?
Separating the hype from the practical value is very difficult right now. AI is evolving quickly, and it looks like it can do a lot of different things. One of the early cases here that seems to make sense is the automation of routine tasks. So enabling people to sort lists easily or create action items out of meeting notes. I find it very, very useful for copying and transcribing meetings and then turning those into notes and action items. Allows me to focus on the meeting and gets a really good job doing that. There are a wide variety of potential applications coming forward. So forecasting, rep forecasting at their particular levels. Things in marketing like next best actions. That's always something the marketing folks and salespeople want to do. What's the right action? Using machine learning and other tools to help generate those quickly will be really helpful. There are companies engaging now in a hybrid sales process where an AI bot takes on some of the early prospecting tools and some of the classification and qualification of leads. And so getting your people and your salespeople away from doing that and executing on those leads and taking them forward are some of those operations that are coming out. The real practical value is going to depend on you and what your company needs and what you're trying to do. For us, right now, it's that automation and simplicity piece. We're using it as well for looking at things like competitive research and being able to pull and synthesize large volumes of data out in the internet about our competitors and see if we can understand what those sorts of things mean.
Got it, got it. And what's the most promising application that you see in DevOps and SageOps perspective, Colin?
For right now, I think it's that automation of the routine tasks. Having one of the things reps have to do today is entering data about their day. As you think about whether you use Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever this be, those call notes and those sorts of things. Dictating those and synthesizing that down into simple pieces, so reps not spending 2 hours at night typing that stuff in is really really helpful. And then from their perspective as well, that next best action piece and really having that evolve. Legacy, at least in my experience, legacy generation of that takes some data streams in front, takes a while to explore and investigate what that is. AI will be able to help us do that much, much quicker and be much more responsive to our customers' needs.
That's so. And how do you envision the future of sales and DevOps evolving? As data and AI tools become more advanced and accessible. Because I also, you mentioned that big expansive system and integrations might be a thing of the past in 5 years from now. So how do you see this getting more advanced and accessible, Colin?
I think a lot of the day-to-day things that we tend to do, a lot of the reporting, a lot of the what I'll call routine analytics, um, with somebody sitting down either producing a spreadsheet or working through a Power BI or Tableau sort of visualization piece. I think a lot of that's gonna go away and be AI enabled. People will ask a question of a data set and get those analytics that you need. And for standard metrics, revenue performance, percent to quotas and examples, program performance. I think those things will become the province of AI and machine learning very, very quickly. So where are people going to go in the future? You're going to be looking at the next, what's next, trying to get out ahead of your sales team, helping them understand what the world's coming to, understanding what the rest of the competitors are doing, helping them take those next actions that drive revenue and proceed pieces in, and really making sure, frankly, that you've got a great data source behind you and that it's structured and engineered to help support the needs that you have going forward. So, you know, for those who, are doing a lot of custom, standard reporting and that sort of stuff, I think that's going to go disappear pretty quickly. And I think the ability of AI to assemble different data sets quickly from a variety of sources into synthesized databases that we use for further analysis will be one of the biggest advantages we have going forward.
Well, that brings us to the end of this insightful episode of Go to Masters. But before which, I'd like to, get your key pieces of advice you'd like to share with our listeners who aspire to excel in the field of commercial ops, Colin.
It's a, I've enjoyed everything about my time in commercial operations. Uh, it's a people business because you're working with people. whether it's the team you're working with in on the inside side of the house, working with salespeople. If you're in contracting and pricing, you're working with customers and that sort of piece. Um, so be able to tune into people and understand them and what drives them in the day. Being a good listener is really important. Uh, there's the old sales term, the QBQ, the question behind the question. Listening for that and being able to understand that is a massive ability to succeed in this business. The other thing is you have to be as a constant learner. Uh, Tools and technologies are moving. If you're in the medical device field, your therapies and devices and all that sort of thing are moving very, very quickly as well. You've got to stay up and stay current on those sorts of things so you can contribute and add value as the world changes. And frankly, just a positive attitude. Uh, this job can be difficult sometimes. You're dealing with people and how they get paid and sometimes they get frustrated. And you've got to remember that just come from a place of good intent and carry that forward with a positive attitude will take you a long way no matter what you're doing.
Thank you so much for that, Colin. Well, that brings us to the end of this insightful session of Go to Masters. Big thanks to Colin for sharing his experiences and valuable insight. Remember, you can tune in every week to learn more from game changers driving hypergrowth companies across the globe. Go to Masters is brought to you by Everstage, your trusted partner for transforming the way businesses handle sales compensation. I'm your host, signing off. Thank you.